Welcome. Hello. I'm alive, barely. Starting to feel better. Definitely up and moving around now, which is more than I could say for a lot of the last week. So I thank you for your patience as I dealt with all of that very crummy stuff. However, I do want to take a moment before we start class today and just point out I was kind of disappointed last week when I sent out my first canceled class. I had multiple students emailing me asking me about the homework. I was busy puking my guts out, and when I wasn't doing that, I was helping my kids who were puking their guts out. I feel like that's somebody emailing me telling me they're sick and me writing back, yeah, what about that homework assignment though? Like, I did not receive any grace to take a moment and feel better and regroup and figure out how I'm going to fix this class before I had people asking me about the homework assignment. I understand you're anxious about it, but that was very dehumanizing to me to have to deal with that. So I want to make it clear right now, there's absolutely nothing in this class that is more important than your health or anybody else's health in this class. And if you find yourself in a position where you are sick, you absolutely will be granted grace to feel better before you need to submit homework assignments. I hope you come talk to me about that. And I hope you please extend me that same grace. I am a person, I am a human being. I can vomit just like all of you. So please consider that there is a human on the other side of the email that you are sending when you're writing those emails. As far as the homework assignment itself, I did manage to get the class restructured a little bit. I know I made you watch a video on Monday, which is not my favorite way of delivering material, but I didn't want to get too far behind in the class, so I hope that wasn't too tricky for you. If anybody has any questions about that material, I'd be more than happy to spend time answering any confusion about it now. If anybody has questions about the homework assignment, I'd be more than happy to spend any time answering questions about the homework assignment in class now. It is available to you. There's two parts. The first part does involve you using the command line to SSH into a server. The instructions are all online. I have gotten some emails about it this week from students, and I've been helping people out, so I know people have been doing it. It looks like people have been completing it, the first part successfully at least. The second part is written part. I know this is a computer science class, so I'm asking you to write English words. That doesn't really seem like a very nice thing for me to do, but I'm doing it. And yeah, you can submit that part through Canvas. So I haven't actually checked on those yet, but I assume that that part's not going to give you too much trouble either. And again, just want to reiterate a point that I made just a few moments ago. While I do care about the due dates in this class, and I hope that you get the assignment submitted on time, I'm a reasonable person. If you get sick, if you're falling behind on something, come talk to me about it, right? It's not a death sentence for the homework assignment. We can figure something out. I can grant you an extension, whatever the case may be. You just got to come talk to me about it, right? So just give me a heads up, just let me know, and we'll figure something out. Any questions right now before I hop into the next topic? If anybody has any questions at all about Monday's material, homework assignments? No? Cool. All right. Well, please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you ever do run into some problems along the way. Excuse me. What we're going to be talking about today is text editors. Although it's a little bit misleading, I suppose. We're going to be talking about one very specific text editor today called Vim. So Vim is the text editor of choice in this class. And what I'm basically going to show you today is just kind of a crash course, kind of a tutorial on Vim. How many of you have used Vim before? Oh, fun. Okay, we're going to have a good time in here today. Absolutely. That's going to be a lot of fun. Vim. Let's start off by just giving you a kind of brief history of what Vim is and why I'm even bothering talking to you about it, right? Because you've probably used other text editors. I imagine a lot of you have used text editors like Visual Studio Code or Notepad that comes with Windows or whatever the crappy one is that comes on a Mac, right? Like those are all text editors that exist in the world that you've probably seen before. Vim, however, is kind of an important one. It's a command line text editor. That's the only form in which it exists. It is only accessible via command line. So this is, I think, one of the first points in the class where I'm trying to show you that there's some stuff you can do on the command line that's only really doable on the command line, but why? We have Windows, we have a mouse, I can click things. Why do I want a command line based text editor? Sometimes that might be your only choice. On Monday you learned about the SSH command, which is what you use to remote into a different computer, right? Access the command line on a different computer. If that's the case, then all you have is the command line to interact with that computer, right? That computer is half a country away, half a world away. The command line's what you got. There are no windows, there are no buttons for you to click. You're gonna have to navigate around that computer via command line and interact with the files on it via the command line. So while Vim is not the only command line based text editor in the world, it's definitely one of that's been around. I don't know if it's been around the longest, but it's been around a long time, a very long time. Came out in the 70s. It was first, and then actually one of the more recent. It's still being updated today. So it's Vim. VI is what it used to be called, for visual is what it was short for, and then Vim proved, VIM, came out in 1991, according to my notes here. The most common thing that I use Vim for, it is not what I'm writing code in. No way, absolutely not. IDEs are great for that. So what's the difference between a text editor and an IDE? Anybody know? Anybody have an idea? So an IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, which means that it is specifically intended for writing code. Whereas a text editor is just a text editor. It's just meant for manipulating text. That text might be code, it may not be code, right? IDEs are specifically intended for developing code. Whereas text editors are just used to manipulate any text that you can think of, whether that happens to be code or not. So while I might make some small changes to some code using VI, I might make some quick edits to a file using VI, I am not going to use Vim VI to write an entire program from scratch, although some people would. Some people love this tool. Some people spend hours learning how to use it and become absolute wizards at it. That's not me. I will be honest with you, that is not me. I use it for very quick edits, and I think that is, in fact, what the majority of people use it for. If you are in a pinch, you have to change some files on a computer, you know it's going to be, VI is going to be there. VI is going to be on any computer that has a command line, basically. VI will be there, you can use it. So that's why it's good to know some basics. And so for this class, right, I'm not going to ask you to do all of your homework assignments in VI. That's kind of ridiculous, actually. I'm going to ask you to do parts of your homework assignments in VI, and I hope that in the future, if you find yourself in a position where you're on the command line and you have to make some changes, if it's something quick and simple, you kind of force yourself to use VI and get used to doing it that way instead of opening up a text editor and doing it that way, because I think you'll find actually it's a lot faster, in some cases more efficient, and in other cases might be the only way that you have to do it. So, before we begin, I'm going to take a quick detour. If you're paying attention to my screen here, I've got Canvas open with today's date, and in order to do stuff with the text editor, we need some text. So the first file that's listed here is alice.txt. That's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. It's in the public domain, so you're welcome to download and use it for whatever you want to. So it's a perfect piece of text for us to use today, but we need to get access to that in the command line. And so, I mean, there's lots of ways that you can, of course, download this file and use it on your computer, but I want to show you a neat little trick. Maybe some of you are aware of this, or maybe you're not. I'm going to right-click this file, alice.txt, and copy the address. And then I'm going to switch over to my command line. So I still have that address copied. I want to download that file, and I'm going to do it via command line. There is a command called wget, webget is what that command is supposed to represent. Wget, and if you just paste in a URL afterwards, right click is typically how you paste on the command line, although I'm not certain if that's true for all situations. And then, uh-oh. Error cannot verify. Oh, well, that's not my fault. That's the school's fault. Okay. Okay, that's all right, though. To connect to this insecurely, use -- no check certificate. So now we have to notice that I just used the up. I noticed the. I'm going to try and backtrack and explain what I did. The command didn't work. I hit the up arrow, so I didn't have to type it out all over again, right? And now I'm going to type -- no check certificate as it's suggesting here on the end. I'm a little annoyed that I have to do this. Okay, there we go. This time it actually worked. It downloaded a file. And if you type ls, you should hopefully see alice.txt show up in the list of files. That's another thing that annoys me. It's alphabetical, right? But it's caps and then lowercase that comes afterwards. But there it is. Cool. If you're having trouble with that part, if you're having trouble using wget, just right-click and download it the other way. That's totally fine. I was just trying to show you a little trick. It's not that important. If you want to right-click and download the file the normal way, I have absolutely no issues with that. Once you have acquired the file on your computer, it's time to open it up in a text editor. So we're going to be using Vim in this class. So the way to start Vim is very simple. You just type the word Vim and then the name of the file that you wish to open. The nice thing about this is that it will, if this file does not exist, it will create it for you. So if you wish to create a brand new file using Vim, you can, right? If the file does exist, then of course it's just going to open whatever file it finds. And here we are now in Vim. Your screen's changed a little bit, right? We're now looking at Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. It's the full text. And so what we're going to be doing today is just a kind of a series of manipulations on this text, and we're going to hopefully use that to learn how to excuse me, use this text editor a little bit. Starting with navigation, you'll see that the arrow keys do work, but the more traditional keys for navigating around are H, J, K, and L, believe it or not. So try pushing H, J, K, and L. Notice that J and K move the cursor up and down. H and L move the cursor left and right. So arrow keys do work in most situations. The reason why I point out the other way of doing it is that if you're on an extremely old computer, the arrow keys may not actually work. You might have to use H, J, K, L. That used to be the way that you navigated around. But it's also not the only way to navigate around. In fact, once you get really, 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 really good at Vim, you kind of start to be able to weave your way through these text files. You start to use the more advanced commands for navigating, such as the W key. If I push the W key, it's going to take me to the beginning of the next word, where the definition of word is, the computer doesn't know what an apostrophe means, right? So it's going to stop at apostrophes and punctuation and stuff like that. But it's basically looking for the next space, and then it's going to plot the cursor right after that, or the next piece of punctuation. That's what it's doing. Or if you hit the E key, that's going to drop you at the end of the next word, right? And then if you want to go backwards, the B key will take you backwards to the beginning of the previous word. So all of that's just navigating around, and all of that is very different than Microsoft Word or probably any text editor you've used before. You'll get used to it. We haven't actually changed any text yet. So in order to do that, we have to understand that Vim has two modes. There's what's called command mode. That's actually the mode that we're in right now. So when I'm going to spend a lot of time explaining what commands are available, But command mode is meant to use commands to manipulate the text. So it is not what you would use if you just want to start typing stuff in. You'll notice that if you do start typing stuff in, it's not going to work, right? Because as I've already mentioned, a lot of the letter keys are being used for other purposes. So it would not be possible. So in order to switch modes to insert mode, we hit the escape key, and then I. Escape, actually, I'm not sure is entirely necessary. It just kind of clears everything to make sure you're back in the regular state. The I key is what takes you into insert mode, and you'll see at the very bottom it now says insert. And before, HJKL were the navigation keys, but now you can see HJKL do exactly what you would expect, which is to type the letters, right? So all the other keys, this is how you would actually edit. This is how you actually edit text. If you want to go back to the command mode, then you hit escape again. So that's why I always just kind of get in the habit of hitting escape when I'm in Vim a lot, because it kind of gets you back to your default resting place, right? Your original sort of starting point. And now we're back to the original mode where if I hit HJKL, it's navigating me around, just like W would move me forward a word, B would move me backward a word, right? So Vim kind of consists of going back and forth between using commands, either to help us navigate the file or even manipulate the text. We can use commands to manipulate the text as well. And insert mode, which is what we use to actually insert new content into the text. If you hit capital A, so Shift A, that's called append mode. It's going to take you to the very end of the line and switch you into insert mode automatically. So if you ever need to tack something onto the end of a file, that's a kind of a quick little shortcut. And then finally, I'm going to hit escape again to put myself back into command mode. If I want to delete stuff, you can't. There's two ways you can delete stuff. You can, of course, go into insert mode and start using the backspace key to start deleting stuff, or the delete key or whatever. But also, if you notice I hit escape, it doesn't say insert at the bottom. I'm in command mode. So if I am in command mode and I wish to delete stuff, the X key can do that for you. Right? There goes all my stuff. All right. And now we get to one of the most difficult things about VI, about Vim, which is how to quit. No joke, if you go into Stack Overflow, I think it might be the most upvoted question of all time on Stack Overflow is, how do I get out of Vim? How do I get out of this? I want to go back to the command line. This happens to people all the time. They find themselves in this situation. They don't know how to get out. Well, I'm going to show you, and you're probably still going to get stuck a couple times because I get stuck too, right? From wherever you're at. I always hit that escape key because I'm just a sucker for making sure. And then colon. So that you can see the colon down there at the bottom. From here we have a couple of different options. If I want to save my work, save the changes, then I need to include the letter W for write. Please write the changes, right? If I don't want to save the changes, we can talk about that a little bit later. Regardless, I'm going to also include Q for quit. So colon WQ is by far one of the most common ways that I'm going to use to exit Vim. And you'll see it dumps you right back out to the command line, right where we started. Let's try that again. I'm going to open up the file again. And I can, make some quick little changes. Let's say I don't want to keep the changes that I made. Let's say that I made some stuff and I'm just like, actually, I don't want that anymore. I want the file back the way that it was before I started. We can do that too. I'm going to hit escape, colon. This time I'll leave the W off. No W. But you can't just do Q by itself or the computer will complain. So if I just do Q by itself, it'll say no write since last change. It's trying to protect me. It's saying you changed this stuff, but you never saved it. So it's not going to let me quit unless I'm extra sure, which I can do by saying quit with an exclamation point. No, quit, please, right? Quit. And if you do quit exclamation point, then it says, all right, throw all the changes out, put the file back the way it was, get out of the program. So there you go. There's the answer to the top upvoted Stack Overflow question of all time. How do you exit Vim? :WQ, :Q exclamation point. So both acceptable answers. Any questions so far? Okay. Fantastic. So we're going to do a lot of exercises today. I want to get you a lot of hands-on practice with this text editor, doing some stuff with this text editor. I have given you some exercises on the website. These are actually files that you're going to have to download and manipulate using Vim. So I didn't mean to do it that way. Well, that's okay. So for exercise 1, right? Just like before, I'm going to right-click, copy the link address, and then I'm going to come down here and use wget. Oh, except for the stupid... I just remembered the certificate thing again. That's really annoying. Yeah, you can do it that way if you want to, or you can do the right-click and download. However you feel most comfortable doing it. Really wish that didn't happen. But yeah, go ahead and open up the first exercise 1 file in Vim. It'll look like this. I'm going to give you a minute. Just make sure everybody gets that for a second. And then I'll put up the instructions. Actually, the instructions are self-explanatory, somewhat. Remove all the extra characters from number 1. And then for these last 2, you just need to figure out how to make these 2 lines match. So for 2 and 3, you're trying to make the lines match. But for 3, I know that seems somewhat trivial. You're just chopping off the end. But see how few commands and such you can use, right? See if you don't have to just navigate the cursor all the way down there and start deleting. See how few commands you can use to get down to that part of the file and actually make those changes, okay? I'm going to give you a few minutes. I'll be around if you get stuck or if you need any help, okay? Hey, what's up? Another minute or two. Alrighty, so I mean, I'm happy to talk about these, but really the main purpose of these exercises is for you to get the practice in your fingers, right? So there's not really a whole lot for me to say other than kind of how I would approach these, which for this first one, there's no need to enter insert mode at all. If you did, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you can just use the keys, the cursor keys and the X key to remove any extra letters that you see. That I think was the intention here. There's a few extra, duplications of letters and stuff, but the X key in conjunction with the cursor will take care of those just fine. To fix that one up. For number 2, using insert mode I think is absolutely going to be necessary because there's a lot of missing stuff here, so you're going to have to use insert mode to put in the stuff that's missing, and then remembering to use the escape key if you want to go out of insert mode, although I suppose you don't have to leave insert mode. You could just scooch on over to the next one and continue typing that way. So just getting you some practice with entry, data entry, using insert mode. And then for this last one, I hope you recognize that we can just hit Shift-A down here, and it plopped me right at the very end of the line and stuck me in insert mode, all in one shot, so that I can just finish this line directly. Of course, there are other ways of doing this, all of these probably, right? But the important thing here is just to get yourself familiar with the way that BIM's doing things. So, yeah, let's step it up a notch. So, we talked about, I'm going to open up my Alice in Wonderland file again. So how do I get out of this? How do I get out of this program again? WQ if you want to save it. Yeah. Q exclamation point if you don't. I'm going to go back into my Alice in Wonderland and show you a few new tricks, and then we'll do some more exercises. So I talked about earlier the W, E, and B keys. So the W key takes me to the beginning of the next word. The E key takes me to the end of the next word. You can see my cursor is moving, right? And the B key takes me backwards, beginning of the previous word. These are called motions. So W, E, and B are called motions. Motions can be combined with operators to perform edits on our text and make very complex edits, as a matter of fact. So one example of an operator is D, which stands for delete. And so, for example, if where is my cursor right? Oh, there it is. I'm going to put it right here on this part of all caps. If I put it right here in the middle of this word project, that's where my cursor is, and I type :DW, or actually I don't even need, I didn't need the colon, I'm sorry about that. I did not need the colon. I think I just needed DW. If I type DW, that's an operator and a motion. The operator is delete, and the motion is everything up until the next word. Right? Because W takes me to the beginning of the next word. And that's what happened. The back half of the word project got deleted, and my cursor is now sitting at the beginning of the next word. Try it a few times, right? When you hit DW, it will delete everything from where the cursor is up until the beginning of the next word. And then similarly, if I type DE, you can probably see where that one's going to go, right? DE would delete everything up until the end of the next word. Right? Or, if we want to talk about, a big motion, a new motion that I haven't introduced to you yet, $. Dollar sign is a motion that represents everything from here until the end of the line. So typing $$ will delete everything from where the cursor is up until the end of the line. We're going to add yet another wrinkle to these commands. So we've got operators and motions. We can also multiply them. We can include numbers in front. So for example, my cursor is right here in the word use. Yeah, right here on the word use. If I type 2W, that takes me 2 words ahead. Or 7W takes me 7 words ahead, right? Or if I type 3E, that'll take me 3 words ahead, but leave the cursor at the end, not the beginning of the word. So W leaves me at the beginning of the word, E leaves me at the end of the word, right? Excuse me. If I just type the number 0 by itself, that one will take me to the beginning of a line. So move your cursor halfway down the line, hit that 0 key, and it'll snap right back to the left-hand side. And then combining that all together. If I combine an operator and then a number and a motion, I can say something like D2W, and that will delete 2 words. Delete 2 words, right? Delete 2 words, leaving the cursor at the beginning of the word. If I type D8W, bang, it's going to take out 8 words, all in one shot. I don't have to sit there and lean on the delete key, right? You can use the motions combined with the operators and a number to achieve some very, very, very powerful effects. If and when you go home tonight and you Google some people being Vim wizards, this is what they're doing. This is most likely what they're doing. They're masters at knowing what these motions are and these commands and how to navigate around these files with using them. They try not to enter insert mode if they can help it. They want to do everything via commands. The commands are much more flexible, much more powerful than hacking around yourself, right? That being said, I'm the kind of guy who hacks around himself quite a bit. in these files. I think these are good techniques. There are some that I use all the time. In fact, I'm about to introduce one of my favorite to you. Deleting a line, deleting an entire line. By far one of the things that I do most often. DD, typing the D key twice, just deletes a line. I love this. I love this command. I use it so many times, and its variations as well. If I type D7D, there goes 7 lines, right? D9D, there goes 9 lines, right? You can very easily just wipe out a big chunk of lines in a file with that very simple command. Think about the alternative, again, of sitting there leaning on the delete key, right? That's probably not what you would want. So using the DD command to remove a single line. I'm sorry, did I get that? It wouldn't be D2D, it would be 2DD. Yeah, I said that wrong. The number comes first, 2DD. Did D2D work as well? Oh, it did. It worked the same way, yeah. Both ways worked. Doesn't matter where you put the 2, apparently. It can come first or in the middle. Yeah. We've been doing a lot of damage. We've been hacking away at Alice in Wonderland here for a good chunk of time. If we wanted to, we can hit the U key, and that will undo. So there's my Control Z right there. Right? You can see it all start to come back. It's not infinite, though. It will eventually run out of stuff to undo. Well, it might not in this particular case, but you definitely will run out of stuff eventually. So yeah. Any questions? Alrighty, then we are ready to do our next set of exercises. This is we're gonna hop into exercise 2 next. I'm gonna be stubborn and keep doing it on the command line because that's just the kind of guy I am. Quit out of here. Oh, you can probably, here you go. You can probably just reuse the same command you did for exercise 1, if you want to, and switch this little guy to a 2. Ah, I like that. Get familiar with that too, using the up and down arrow keys to go back and revisit past commands on the command line. Such a time saver. Such a big time saver. All right, little notes here for what you need to do for each of these. On this first one, there's extra words. For this one, there's an echo at the end of the line. Again, could you just go and use insert and delete to do all this? But yeah, sure, but I hope you don't. I hope you actually try to use the commands and get familiar with Vim. Number 3, I feel like it's pretty obvious. Remove the gibberish. Here you can see the gibberish is separated out into words. So think about this. How could I remove these 3 words right here? I know they aren't actual words, but the computer doesn't know that. And then number 4. Remove the extra lines from the poem. There's a poem in there. But it's got some extra lines. So see if you can get them out and leave the poem behind. Go ahead, talk to your neighbors if you want to. Work on these exercises. I'll give you a good 5 or 10, and then we'll chat. Let me know if you need any help, okay?
So guys, that's probably supposed to be like 350. They would have 37 tickets. They have no seat.
Annoying.
I don't think you keep that. I don't think Brad is. Oh, actually, wait, it actually might. Right? Well, I don't know. I think it's subjective. Missouri is very class badass words. Jared, how do you do today? Hmm? Hey, sushi after this. And I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get a huge thing of avocado and only baby avocado. So you might half of it just avocado and give me like 19.
No, that's the other kind. That's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's probably not what I was gonna feed him, but my one part. So fucked up.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Cause I'm super big. I told him that. But this is dog. Yeah. And more protein. Technically, I actually should be eating protein. So good. Everywhere, whenever I go to, whenever I go to France, I just say steak. Just saying, you didn't have to ask where he was from. You should know where I was from. No, it was like fine. Mom did better. Our moms go. No, I get it. It's not really the Bahamas. It's more like the Bahamas. See, it's closer. It's like 5 for me to get to 5 minutes. Yeah, see, that's like what? You try to. You ever been to River? Oh.
Alrighty. Let's have a chat about these. There's definitely more than one way to do pretty much all of these, right? So I'll chat with you a little bit about maybe a couple of ways that I could think about solving these, but hopefully you are starting to get a little bit of a feel for the Vim way of doing things. For this first one, there's just some extra words in the way. So one approach is to use the W key to navigate until you find a word that you don't want to be there anymore, and then just saying DW, and then boom, there it goes, right? That word is now no longer in the sentence. You can continue to use the W key to progress, and using DW to remove words. This is actually a nice thing to be able to do, right? Clear out words from things that don't need to be there. Oops, well, there we go. I just deleted the whole thing. That was not what I meant to do. But if you make a similar mistake, you can always hit the U key to go backwards. Happens. Definitely happens. I was trying to get that last word out of there. Cheese. There we go. All right, great. For this next one, for number 2, you could have used a similar approach, right? However, I hope you considered, for starters, I can use the W. I've been using the W key just one at a time, bing, 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 and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. W doesn't actually get us to where we want to go this time. Well, it kind of does. Yeah, this would be okay of a place to start. Or you could use, the E key to take the end of the word instead, although that one actually is worse in my opinion. Regardless, whenever you get the cursor to, you know, roughly where you want to chop. So I have the cursor now appropriately placed, and I wish to chop off the entire rest of the end. I can type $, and do that all in one go. If you did it one word at a time, or even one letter at a time, okay, that's still part of what Vim provides. I do think, though, that Vim would encourage you to try and do this in as few motions as possible, right? So the $ to chop off the end of the line is definitely a skill to use in that particular situation. And then for number 3, to do this one properly, really I think involves using those multipliers, right? So here I wish to delete, I see they're not words in the English sense, but they are words in the Vim sense. So if I want to clear out that whole chunk of gibberish all in one go, I can say D3W, and there, that whole chunk of 3 gibberish words is now out. I can then, you know, use the W key to progress along and keep removing whichever chunks of gibberish I come across. There were another, whoop, okay, yep. I can delete the whole thing again for the bajillionth time, which will probably happen again. Here's 2 of them, so I'll delete a couple. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them that time. There goes those 4. And 2 more. Okay. And then finally the last one, the poem, the little poem. Hopefully you figured it out. It does tell a little bit of a story. The idea here was to use the DD command to remove one line at a time, or if you want to remove more than one line at a time, you can also do that. But using DD to remove commands, remove lines is the intent here, and it leaves you with a little limerick. You can, of course, debate whether it's any good or not. I did write it myself, as you can probably tell. But yeah. Any questions? How are we feeling about Vim? Do we like it? Yeah? Question? $, yeah. So $, is a motion, just like W, E, and B are motions. So W is a motion that says go to the beginning of the next word. E says go to the end of the next word. B says go to the beginning of the previous word, so it goes backwards. $, the motion is just go to the end of the line. So anytime you want to do something from wherever the cursor is up until the end of the line, so you can just hit $, it'll drop you all the way down at the end. Yeah, great question. Any other questions? One thing, I think now is kind of a good time to introduce you to a fun little well, fun is somewhat subjective, I suppose, but people are really into Vim and using these commands as much as possible. So there's something called Vim Golf, where you are given a task to perform in Vim, and you have to do it in as few keystrokes as possible. You cannot do this if you're going to delete one word at a time. These aren't going to work if you do it that way. You have to really think about the motions that are available to you, the operators that are available to you, the multipliers that are available to you, right? And I'll be honest with you, some of these are crazy. Like, I would not even stand a chance. No way, no how. But if you're really trying to beef up your Vim skills, this is you know, the LeetCode grinding of learning Vim, right? This is where people go to learn how to get really good at Vim. Really good at Vim. It'll show you the answers too, so you know you don't have to bang your head up against it. It'll show you the answers as well. If you want more Vim practice after class, when students come to me, this is the site I point them to. It's a good place to start practicing your Vim skills. So yeah, take a look at that later if you would like. For now, we're gonna move back to our Alice in Wonderland text and learn some more commands. All right, where are we here? Registers. So Vim has registers. Registers are really just containers of information. So when I delete stuff from a file in Vim, so using anything, using the delete word or DD to delete a line, anything. Whenever I delete something, it actually saves what gets deleted in a buffer. So I just deleted a line using DD, but it remembered that line. You can think of it actually as that line has been cut. What we've actually performed is not so much delete as much as a Control X in a way. And so if I wish to have that line back, but somewhere else, I can, move my cursor somewhere else, and then later on, whenever I'm ready to put that content back, I can then type the P key, and it will put it back. So this is great for moving chunks of code. Let's think about this in a coding context. I'm writing a piece of code. I've got a method in this file, and it doesn't belong in this file, perhaps, or it belongs in a different part of the file. I could say D5D to remove those 5 lines that contain the method, move my cursor to a different part of the file where I want that method to go, and then P to plop it right back in. With very few commands, I can start moving entire chunks of code around. Very, 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 very powerful tools that Vim provides to you. You can also replace and change text without having to go into insert mode. So let's say there's a little typo or something, and going into insert mode involves, hitting the I key and then typing some stuff and then hitting the escape key to go back, right? But if all I need to do is make a little change instead of going through all of that, there's actually a command. I can just say R, so I typed the letter R, and you actually see the letter R appear on the bottom of the screen there. That means that I'm getting ready to replace, and now I can type the letter that I want, and that O changed into an I. So R followed by a letter will replace whatever letter the cursor is at. I can type R-O, and it'll switch it back to an O. I now have the ability to make edits without entering insert. That's kind of nice. And you're probably thinking, well, one letter, that's not a whole lot. Well, wait a second. We got motions, right? We have the whole power of motions and commands at our disposal. So while yes, so far it's just one letter, we can combine motions with these commands to do a lot more than just that. So if I do something like, I'm going to go into the middle of a word, this word right here, sitting. Instead of using R, this time I'm going to use the command C, which stands for change. R stands for replace. C stands for change. The difference is that C is used with when I want to do more than just a single letter. So I'm about to do some more heavy lifting here, right? I wish to change the entire rest of this word. What's the motion to get to the end of a word? E. So if I type CE, boom. It deletes the whole rest of the word and plops me right into insert mode so that I can start typing. Again, think about what that would have entailed without that command. I'm going to try and put it back to the way it was. I'm trying to illustrate what Vim wants you to do, right? If I wanted to change this word, I would have to say escape, insert, delete, 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 delete. And now I can finally start typing, or I could just move my cursor here, not even bring insert mode into it, and just go CE, boom. Delete, put me in insert mode so I can start changing stuff. Or if I want to change the whole rest of the line, I'm going to type C, oops, I'm in insert mode, so that didn't work, so I have to hit escape. C $ says delete the whole rest of the line and put me in insert mode so I can start typing. Remember too, that anytime you delete something, that is in the buffer. So that's that entire end of the line that I just deleted. If I ever want to go somewhere else and place it, I can just simply scroll up, hit the P key. Oh, I need to not be in insert mode. You've seen me make that mistake a bunch of times now. Make sure you're not in insert mode. Hit the P key and boom, there it is. Pasted the line. It got deleted. So anytime you delete something, you have the ability to put it back with the P key, the put key. Let's talk about file navigation. You've probably seen these numbers down here at the bottom. Anybody figure out what that's about yet? Line number is one of them. What's the other one? One of them is definitely the line number. So you can see as I go down, the first number goes up. That's my line number, right? The second one is definitely the column number. Surprise, surprise. So there is our position in the file right there for us available to see. That's a good thing. Let's say I want to go to a specific place, though. This is a long chunk of text. I don't know if any of you have ever actually read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. This is a long chunk of text. You can see, actually, it's also telling us that I'm currently 2% of the way through this file, right? So there's a whole lot more coming afterwards. Let's say I want to go to a specific part of the story. We can use Control G and then type the line that we wish to go. Let's go to line 400. Oh, well, that's not. Whoop. I did not do that right. What did I do wrong? It took me to line 500. Oh, I did the wrong command. Control G just shows us, yeah, sorry. Control G was not the command that I was intending to do right there. Oh my gosh, what have I done? Oh my goodness. Oh boy, here we go. Now I've done it. All right, no, we're cool, we're cool, cool. I apologize. That was the wrong command. It's our good friend hashtag or pound sign. That's the command that I meant to say. If you type hashtag 400, it's still in. Come on, you're making a fool out of me today, Vim. Give me a second. I'm just gonna restart this guy. All right, I am on line 400. Why didn't it? Okay, I'm confused. Anyway, I'm gonna try to go to line. Let's go hashtag. Why did that do that? Do I need to be? Well, clearly I'm struggling with this part right now. What's up? All right, let's start with the easy ones. GG. Good game takes you to the beginning of the file. That's an easy one. Capital G takes you to the end of the file. And I know there is a way to go to a line within the file. I thought that I was doing it correctly, but now I'm going to Google it and make sure, because I'm not doing it properly. Oh, okay. Colon line number. I need to update my notes. Colon line number, or line number capital G. Let's give it a try. I don't know why my notes are not saying that. If I want to go to line 400, 400 capital G. Yes, that worked like a charm. Okay. I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, yeah. GG takes you to the beginning. Capital G takes you to the end. You can type a number followed by a capital G to jump to that specific line number within the file. Yes.
On the Mac, I don't think it shows the line number.
Oh,
Is there a way to?
Are you sure you're using Vim?
Yeah.
VIM? You can also do Control G, I think, on or Option G, or Command G on a Mac should show you the. No.
I can hop around lines, but I just don't know which one I'm on or where.
set number. So it's saying to do colon set number. Oh, that's not quite what we were looking for, although kind of interesting, right? That's useful in a different way. It gives us the line numbers on the side. I actually like that. Yeah. That's handy. That was not exactly what I was looking for, though. I'm not sure why it's not showing up on your Mac, though. Oh, no, that's not what I want. Okay. Searching. Searching a file. Something that we often want to do, right? Don't want to have to scroll through a whole file looking for random gibberish, so we want to be able to search. That's going to be the slash key. So pay attention to the direction of the slash down at the bottom. That is a front slash, I believe. Slash key followed by a phrase to search. So, I mean, somewhere in here there's like a rabbit, right? Yeah. So slash rabbit, and I can start finding that word, or Mad Hatter, right? Probably capitalized since it's somebody's name. Or is it hyphenated or something? Hatter, yeah. So slash allows us to search. And if there's more than one match, so I typed slash Hatter, I can use the N key to take me to the next version, the next, the next time that it's found. So it's taking me to all of the Hatters, right? So I can use the little n to take me forward through the file. I can type capital N and it'll move me backwards through the file. So that's your equivalent of find next. So little n moves me forward, big N moves me backwards, and it'll tell me when it's searched the whole thing, wrapping you around. And perhaps even more useful still, especially for programmers, might be a little hard to find one in this file because it is not code. But let's say that I have a big old gnarly piece of code that's got, well here, let's see if I can find, okay, perfect. That's got a whole bunch of parentheses and brackets and all that fun stuff, and I'm having a heck of a time trying to decipher where all that stuff is happening. For starters, you'll notice it does highlight, just like you would expect. So if I put my cursor on the first parenthesis, it shows me where the second one is. But let's say it's not that obvious, right? Let's say the second parenthesis is like 3 pages down, can't necessarily see it, but I really need to know, where does this get closed at? If your cursor is on the first parenthesis, you can type the % key, and it will jump you to my cursor is now on the close parenthesis, and if I type the % key again, it'll jump me back. I'm now on the beginning parenthesis. So you can use that % key to jump back and forth between open and closing parentheses, brackets, square brackets, angle brackets, curly brackets, whatever the case may be. It'll automatically jump your cursor back and forth. That's a great tool, especially for us coders, to try and match up our punctuation in our code. Just going to wrap up a couple more things before we do one more little exercise to wrap up the day today. And this last one is one that I would not expect you to use for this class necessarily, but I show it to people just because it's really cool. You can run commands from within Vim. By commands, I mean commands from the command line. So if I wanted to, I can type : !ls. There is the result of ls as run via the command line. Right? I did that from within Vim. I hit enter, and now I'm back. think about the value in that. I'm editing. Wait a second. What did it say in that other file again? I need to reference this other piece of code in a different file. Oh, let me go ahead and, run a command to open that file up. Vim actually has tabs as well. So if you need to have two files open, you can open Vim within Vim, have two files open, switch back and forth. That's an advanced technique for sure. Where this gets even more powerful, you can capture the output of those commands and suck them into Vim. And you can also use Vim to execute further commands. Vim itself, with its ability to access the command line and its registers. Vim, turns out, is a Turing-complete programming language. I would not use it for that purpose. I think that's absolutely ridiculous, but it is a thing. So yeah, that's just sort of an explanation of how powerful the tools are that come with Vim. There are people who have done some really, really, really crazy stuff with the registers and the macros and stuff in Vim to do all kinds of fun things that I'm not going to get into today. But we got about 10 minutes left, and with that, we're going to do one more set of exercises and wrap it up. So I'm going to go ahead and close this real quick. Download exercises 3 by reusing the same command and swapping that out for a 3. For these, for the first one, we're not deleting anything. We're rearranging. Right? We're rearranging those lines. We're not deleting. For number 2, use replace. That's the R command, right? For number 3, they want you to use the change word command, which is CW. And then for number 4, use change, well, I'll let you figure this one out, which one you have to use. Change the end of the line. So we're all about out of time for today. I don't have anything else for you after these exercises. It's, again, mostly your practice is the value that you need, right? There's not much else I can say about them than I haven't already said. The one thing I want to say before you leave is that Monday's topic is bash scripting. And oh my gosh, it is one of my favorite topics ever, and also I think one of the most useful things that we talk about in this entire class. So please, 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 please come on Monday ready to do some coding. And we'll practice some more Vim skills on Monday as well. I'm really looking forward to it. Great to see you all again. So happy to be back. Hope you're all doing okay. I'll see you next week, all right? Let me know if you have any questions on the homework.